People are saying we're conspiracy theorists, but you don't patent a conspiracy. And these things have been patented, they've been proven they do it. There's Sean Ryan has a podcast out, just oddly enough, this past couple of weeks. A fella's talking about.
Stop getting your information from podcasts and YouTube grifters, especially if you are a congressman. Due to the recent weather weapon deployed against Texas, which resulted in a high number of child murders, efforts to eliminate the military treason are being escalated. I love that he's hurting himself trying to get over the fence. He was totally sober. This is amazing. Oh God, he flashed the camera. Representative Tim Burchett has a different idea about what we could do to prevent situations like this. I guess he's going to Tim Burchett, indeed. Minty, welcome in. Prepare yourselves for this one.
We'll have a tough hearing, and we'll hear what's going on. People are saying we're conspiracy theorists, but you don't patent a conspiracy. And these things have been patented, they've been proven they do it. There's Sean Ryan has a podcast out, just oddly enough, this past couple of weeks. A fella's talking about.
Stop getting your information from podcasts and YouTube grifters, especially if you are a fucking congressman. A fucking congressman shouldn't be telling me about a fucking grifter he heard on a podcast.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
We'll have a tough hearing, and we'll hear what's going on. People are saying we're conspiracy theorists, but you don't patent a conspiracy. And these things have been patented, they've been proven they do it. There's Sean Ryan has a podcast out, just oddly enough, this past couple of weeks. A fella's talking about how they've proven that it works, because they will. If you just see the cloud, you just don't really know. You can't prove it. But if you zigzag or create a shape or write your name or say Voice of America across of it, and the rain comes down out of that, then you can prove it's happened. And they've proven it works in some cases. So it's a real thing. Weather manipulation is real, but in the hands of our enemies or some overlord, I think it could be a very detrimental thing. And I'm big on God and just letting him work his magic, not people trying to play God. We'll have.
Oregon Gal, welcome in. Conspiracy theories about the Texas floods leads to death threats. Disinformation around a weather weapon and cloud seeding is being widely promoted by everyone from anti-government extremists to GOP influencers to a fucking sitting congressperson. On Sunday afternoon, Michael Meyer, not Michael Myers, the founder of anti-government extremist group Veterans on Patrol, posted a warning on his Telegram channel due to the recent weather weapon deployed against Texas, which resulted in a high number of child murders. Efforts to eliminate the military treason are being escalated. Meyer, who is commonly known as Lewis Author, wrote, "Hours later, a man broke into an enclosure containing the next-gen live radar system operated by News 9 in Oklahoma City, damaging its power supply and briefly knocking it offline. The man also damaged CCTV cameras monitoring the site, but footage shared by News 9 shows the cameras captured a clear image of his face before they were destroyed. Amazing." Did he eat something out of his hand? What was... It kind of looked like he was talking like a Secret Service agent or something. Maybe picking his nose? I feel like I know this dude. I've known so many people look exactly like him. I love that he's hurting himself trying to get over the fence. He looks totally sober. This is amazing. Oh God, he flashed the camera. Instead of kicking authority in the balls, he's showing authority his balls. Wow. This was just 2 days ago. News 9 in Oklahoma City. All this is a Doppler satellite. Taking these out make it harder for your local weather person to be able to predict the weather, which they are incredibly good at, by the way. A lot of people like to bash weathermen. If they tell you there's a 60% chance of rain, the bad example there. If they tell you there's like an 80% chance of rain, and then it doesn't rain, they didn't lie to you. The 20% just happened. Much better closure rate than cops. And yeah, if they're telling you what the weather's going to do a week out, you know, they're not that accurate, but they can tell you what's going to happen tomorrow with pretty fucking good precision. It's very much an inexact science. A lot of people don't understand probability sports cards. That's why everybody gets onto me about like the 2016 election. Oh, Hillary had a 94% chance of winning. The New York Times said the day of, just because the 6% happened. There he is attacking the CCTV camera. So he's trying to open an electricity box. Breaker box. Yeah, it's a wonder he didn't hurt himself. Amazing he didn't hurt himself. That was a guy who tried to attack a radar system in Oklahoma. Captain Valerie Littlejohn of the Oklahoma City Police Department tells Wired that no arrests have been made, but that the department is aware of the Veterans on Patrol group, Meyer, who declined to tell Wired whether he knew the identity of the perpetrator, says the attack was part of what he calls Operation Lone Wolf, adding that he's in discussion online with over a dozen people who are willing to carry out similar attacks. Anyone that's going out to eliminate a NexRad, if they haven't harmed life and they're doing it according to the videos that we're providing, they are part of our group, Meyer tells Wired. We're going to have to take out every single media's capabilities of lying to the American people. Mainstream media is the biggest threat right now. NexRads refer to next-generation weather radar systems used by the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration to detect precipitation, wind, tornadoes, and thunderstorms. Meyer says that his group wants to disable these, as well as satellite systems used by media outlets to broadcast weather updates. The attack on the News 9 weather radar system comes amid a sustained disinformation campaign on social media platforms, including everyone from extremist figures like Meyer to elected GOP lawmakers. What united these desperate figures is that they were all promoting the debunked conspiracy theory that the devastating flooding in Texas last weekend was caused not by a month's worth of rain falling in the space of just a few hours, the intensity of which meteorologists say was difficult to predict ahead of time, but by a targeted attack on American citizens using directed energy weapons or cloud seeding technology to manipulate the weather. The result has not only been possible damage to a radar system, but death threats against those who are being wrongly blamed for causing the floods. I think that we've probably received in excess of 100 explicit death threats on either email or X, with probably about a one order of magnitude more calls for my incarceration. Augustus Doricchio, founder of cloud seeding company Rainmaker, tells Wired. NOAA is aware of recent threats against NexRad weather radar sites and is working with local and other authorities in monitoring the situation closely. Over 100 people have now been confirmed to have lost their lives in the flash flooding that hit homes and camps along the edge of the Guadalupe River in the early hours of Friday morning. Meteorologists who spoke to Wired dismissed claims that the National Weather Service failed to accurately predict the risk of flooding in Texas, but within hours of the tragedy happening, conspiracy theorists, right-wing influencers, and lawmakers were pushing wild claims on social media that the floods were somehow geoengineered. Fake weather, fake hurricanes, fake flooding, fake. Candace Taylor, who intends to run as a GOP candidate to represent Georgia's 1st Congressional District, the House of Representatives, wrote in a post viewed 2.4 million times. That doesn't even seem natural. Kylie Jane Krimmer, Executive Director of Women for America First, wrote on X in a post that has been viewed 9 million times. Candace Taylor, I know the name because I feel like I had a story about her from last week before this ever happened, that she was saying something stupid and we never got around to it. As the emergency response to the floods was still taking place on Saturday, U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted that she would be introducing a bill to end the dangerous and deadly practice of weather modification and geoengineering. Greene, who once blamed California wildfires on laser beams or light beams connected to an electric company with purported ties to an organization affiliated with a powerful Jewish family, said that the bill will be similar to Florida Senate Bill 56, which Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law in June. On Instagram, right-wing influencer Gabrielle Yoder jumped on one of the biggest conspiracy theories, claiming that cloud seeding was responsible for causing the floods and calling out Doricco. Specifically, Doricco's company was also named by disgraced former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. He wrote that anyone who calls this out as a conspiracy theory can go fuck themselves. Doricco told Wired that Rainmaker was working on a brief cloud seeding operation just days before the storms near the town of Rung, Texas, about 120 miles away from Kerr County, where the worst of the flooding was concentrated. But Doricco says his staff meteorologist noted some high moisture content in the region. The company, he says, called off its operations per state regulations. Cloud seeding, the practice of increasing precipitation in a cloud by introducing materials like silver iodide or dry ice, has been in use for decades. The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation maintains a page on current weather modification efforts from irrigation districts, counties, and other groups in the state. Dorico's company, Rainmaker, is a buzzy startup that aims to synthesize advanced technology with environmental stewardship. Multiple meteorologists told Wired there is no way that cloud seeding was responsible for the devastating storms that racked Texas last week. It is not physically possible or possible within the laws of atmospheric chemistry to cloud seed at a scale that would cause an event like the Texas flooding to occur. This is according to Matt Lanza, a digital meteorologist based in Houston. Lanza compares cloud seeding to adding icing to a cake. It's able to juice up precipitation from clouds in drier areas, not create storms wholesale out of thin air.